I love deck building games, as you may be able to tell from the amount of hours I've put into Slay the Spire. I've been a fan of deck building as a concept since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was just a kid. Opening packs and trying to use the limited amount of cards we had to build an optimal strategy was some of the most fun a 10-year-old could have. So when I was looking for games to cover for this series, there was one game that definitely stood out to me. Signs of the Sojourner is a game made by California-based indie studio Echo Dog Games and released on May 14th, 2020. The game is about you trying to save your small town and your mom's store after she passes away. You do this by traveling the world and bringing back items to sell in your small shop. Each conversation is played out using a deck of cards. You will have a hand of 5 cards featuring 4 symbols: circles, triangles, diamonds, and squares, with a 5th symbol, spirals, being added on the second to last trip. The person you're trying to talk to will also have a deck of these cards and symbols, usually focusing on 2 of the main 4 symbols, although some characters do have more complex decks later on. Typically, good conversations reward you with new places to go, items to bring back to your store, or some details about what your mom was like before she passed away. Nadine offers possibly the most important advice the game gives you on the day before you start Trip 2.
Just remember, you can't please everyone, and you'll have a hard time on the road if you try to.
This is a lesson I struggled with on my first playthrough. I decided to talk to every single person I met and had successful conversations with most people, with a few notable exceptions. But the place where I really understood the consequences of trying to make everyone happy was in a conversation I had with Isabella on the last trip, where she expressed concern that I was becoming such close friends with Marquez, a member of a local group of powerful people called the Circle, who control most of the shops and artists in her town of Pancheo. She seemed genuinely disappointed in me, and even though she says she basically trusts my judgment in the end, I feel guilty for betraying this character's trust, especially with how close she was to my character's mom. And that's the biggest strength of this game. You feel connected to every single character through the conversations you have with them and become genuinely invested in what happens to the world around them. Not being able to please everyone also adds plenty of replay value, as you can see what happens if you choose to side with one NPC over another in different situations. The game further encourages replayability by taking the Pajama Sam approach of slightly randomizing the way some events are placed at the start of each playthrough. For example, one time you might meet Isabella first when you go to Pancheo, and the other time you might meet Marquez first. I've played through the game 5 full times now, and I still don't think I've seen even a quarter of all of the content the game has to offer. And the music, how have I not even mentioned the music yet? The music in this game is absolutely amazing. I bought the whole soundtrack and listen to it regularly even when I'm not playing the game. It's that good. One of my favorite things to do when entering a new town was just to stop and listen to the unique soundtrack to the area. It really added to my experience of the whole game. I don't want to give off the impression that the game has no flaws whatsoever. While I praise the deck building system and its themes of not being able to please everyone, some areas of the game like Old Moray are very easy to get locked out of on your first visit. This is because you likely won't have a way to get the square and diamond symbols you need to have in your deck before you get there. This makes the early diamond and square symbol encounters more blind luck whether you get to see that content than any skill in deck construction or strategy. I think the developers could have gotten around this without compromising the themes and ideas behind the game by letting the player choose 2 symbols to base their starting deck around, rather than always giving you the same deck. But another way the game starts to feel more like luck than skill-based is the fatigue system. I think it's a good idea in concept. If I went out on a 50-day road trip, I'd probably be a lot worse at talking to people by the end of it than at the start. But what ends up happening in execution is that by the time you get to the further away areas of the map, you spend most of the game playing with only 1 or 2 cards in your hand, and you pray to hell that you don't get stuck with a hand of 5 fatigue cards, because then you're just screwed. The mechanic definitely serves a purpose and adds to the strategy of the game, so I wouldn't take it away entirely, but I think the rate at which the player picks up fatigue should be drastically reduced. Overall though, I think I can still safely say this is the most interesting and fun deck building game I've played in a long time. The use of deck building game mechanics within a dialogue system is a really interesting take on the deck building genre, and I'd be really excited to see what other projects this team has planned or what another team could do with this concept. The game is a really great experience that I highly recommend to anyone, especially fans of deck building games, for its unique take on the genre. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you like the sound of my voice, you should go follow me over on Twitch, where I stream every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Follow me on Twitter for updates on new videos, streams, all that stuff. See you guys next time.